Hey everyone, it has been a while, and yeah, what a crazy while it has been. Uh, I'll give a few of you time. It's been a while since I've come on, and kind of get some things situated here. Um, do that. Hey Angel, good to see you, Angel. Um, yeah, wow, yesterday, I just got back from the Philippines. Wow. And tomorrow, I'm headed to Florida and doing some meetings there. Hey, Barbara, long time. Great to see you. Hi, Patricia. Let me just give everybody a few bit here to get on. Oh, and Tracy. Oh, cool. Hey, Pam. Yeah, so I got some startling prophetic actions to share with everyone. I'm still a little bit, you know how the time thing is, just coming out of one time, in this case of the Philippines and into the U.S. My wife, Tamra, she's actually in the other room. Hey, Diana. Hey, everybody. Awesome, awesome. It's always good to get back into the States. I had a great time in the Philippines, but oh my gosh, was it hot. Of course, anybody who's been over there knows how hot it can be. It was extremely humid, of course, and hot. So I didn't realize I did. I knew that going in, but yeah, it was hot. So Florida looks like it's not quite as hot it could be. Hey, Arlene, great to see you. We were just actually getting ready to reframe one of your pictures that I got from you way back when. So wow, cool. Yeah, I'm doing this. Yeah, Burning Man in Philippines. No kidding. That's exactly what it seemed like. That's for sure. It was pretty intense, but met some great people. Of course, I went over there with the invitation. Those of you who don't know, with John and Ruth Filler, just was kind of a game change and some things going on with them. So I kind of went and spearheaded that because of other things that they would be coming and doing afterwards anyhow. So it was great. Tamara's responding to the picture of Arlene. So let me jump right into this real quick. There's so many extreme things going on, and that's why I'm calling it startling prophetic actions. In fact, I think I'm going to capture that phrase and use that just from here on out because it always seems that way. But let me just give you a heads up, and while I'm doing this, Tamara will give any details or whatever about it. But coming up this weekend at the Terrace Heights Civic Center, Cheryl Jones is going to be hosting our meeting there. And we are going to have some special worship time with David Agate and others who show up. And let me just encourage you to go there to check that out. I guarantee you it's going to be an awesome time. And we're meeting every Friday, once a month. And of course, I try to be there when I can. And more often than not, I'm able to. We just kind of work it out that way. But this time I'm going to be in Florida. And it'll be an awesome time. And anyhow, my mind is still just like whatever. So Tamra will give you more details on that. We have it on our website as well. Hey, Stevie George. And so we are, moving in that direction. And then the time of Glory Fire Church in Sanford, Florida is this weekend. And it's the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday coming up. I think that's 24, 25, 26. Again, Tamara will correct that if not. Hey, Cariana, great to see you. I always say, great to see you, everybody. I know I'm just saying your name, but your picture too. So anyhow, very cool. So so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm going to be sharing some crazy things while I'm there. But let me just catch you up real quick on some startling prophetic actions. When I was in the Philippines and speaking a few times a day, I was in the meantime, whenever I could, in between breaks, I'm writing this book called 2020, The Kingdom Age of Maturity. And I was writing on a particular chapter of an experience that I had back in 2012, one of the first times I really encountered the throne room of God, where the lightnings of God and the thunders of God, were being displayed. And I had this crazy encounter where, I was literally directing bolts of lightning. This wasn't something I was just kind of, pre-planning in my mind or nothing. It just spontaneously happened. And as a result of that encounter that I had, and I shared it with the people afterwards, and it had to do with dethroning future kings and the government of God coming into the earth, and just a directing of all of these things that were going on from the heavenly realms. Okay, so 2 days or 3 days after this, historically, this was in 2012. Historically, we had one of the most intense thunder and lightning storms that we had encountered, like in the last 30 or 40 years. Seattle, the entire Northwest, just had a major lightning and thunder event. In Yakima, some of the few windows of a couple businesses or whatever broke out. Anyhow, it was just crazy. And there was so much more to that, but I don't have time to go into it. But that was kind of the bang. So I'm writing about some of this while I'm in the Philippines, and I'm just all of a sudden feeling that realm again, and just the thunders and lightnings of God. I could just hear them in my spirit and so forth. So not long after that, like an hour or maybe less after that, I went in upstairs into the hotel where we're at, where we were holding these meetings. And during that meeting, I felt like that realm, I was still in that realm. And I began to just speak about certain things of just relating to kind of to the thunders of God, or just different things. I can't even remember the primary deal, but I was just leaning into this. And all of a sudden, there was a sound, a thunder. I mean, it was intense. It sounded like just an explosion that just went off. It was just incredible. And then, of course, another sound, which it didn't sound like lightning that I was used to, but it was lightning. And it was just intense. And then there was a sudden downpour of rain on the roof of the hotel that we were in. And it was deafening, like the sound. It was just all happened at once. And all of a sudden the lights went out, went dark, and here we are, we're just in this moment. And then, of course, the emergency generators, they kicked on, and everything came to light. But I actually thought that I was prophetically speaking about the thunder and lightnings of God while I was in the meeting. But I realized in that moment, wait a minute, I was writing about it, and then felt that, carrying that into the place. And anyhow, this crazy, huge display. Now, I realize that in the Philippines, they have thunders and storms and all that stuff. But we were actually a little bit ahead of that season. And it didn't happen any other time while I was there. And it happened in the exact moment when we were engaging in doing this thing. So needless to say, we were just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And it kind of carried the same weightiness that it did years back when all of these things took place. But I knew there was a shift. I was talking about different things in government in the Philippines that was going to shift, and all of this crazy governmental stuff going on in that land, restricting people. On goes the story. But just a huge awakening that was rising up in that land. So I was very excited about that. The people were excited about it. And but I knew, and I informed them before that I felt it was a governmental gathering, linking up with all of the other prophetic words that were in line with the intentions and desires of God for that nation and its surrounding regions. And so, yeah, that was powerful. And I could share some other things related to that. But I just want to move on real quick into this other thing. I released, I'm still talking about startling prophetic actions. This, a couple days prior when I was there, so all this happened, I think this is Tuesday, so this happened a few days ago. It was came out in Fox News and some other things. There was an article. There was an article that was released, and but before I tell you what that said, I want to take you back to November 1st, 2018. I prophetically released the word about the implosion of governments. And some of you might remember this. It's on our website. I had posted on videos and some other things. And so I was just declaring this implosion of government that would take place in governments that were contrary to the actions or desire or intent of God for his people, beginning in the United States and just working its way across the world. So while I was there, I saw this headline news that read this. The news was the Democrats' implosion. Now, mind you, I wasn't just specifically targeting a Democratic group. It was anybody that was acting against or trying to move against the intention and desire of God. Any government, it would implode. And we were nearing that time of implosion. And so I see this article that says Democrats implosion. And I realize that all Democrats are not negative. I know that people could say that and feel like that, but there's some people out there that are genuine. They love God. On goes the story. But here's what the paragraph, the first paragraph, and time that you can look it up. The first paragraph says, looking back on the first 100 days of 2019, the year's biggest story by far is the astonishing implosion of government, specifically the Democratic Party. And I was just like, oh no, this is crazy. But I'm sure you have been seeing different things imploding. And what I'm trying to get you to really look at, that no matter what's going on in the nations of the world, no matter how intense it looks, we're actually on the edge of seeing things implode at a level that we have never witnessed before. The kingdom of God is increasing. It's not decreasing. And in light of what sounds like more war or whatever, there is a supernatural realm of heaven that is beginning to come upon the world and literally disarming the chaotic atmosphere and different things that are going on. Now, we're just kind of at the beginning stages of that, but we're edging into it more and more in a very powerful way. So another article that came out, it was I wish I forgot to read the title, but it's another recent thing that they released, and about the Dead Sea over east of Jordan. And the first time that I went to Israel, I was taken to the Dead Sea, and we floated out there and did this thing. But during that time, while I was there, I had this prophetic word that the Dead Sea would be known as the Sea of Life and not the Sea of Death. And so I prophetically released this word while I was over there, and I think it was like, again, around 2002. We have some things on that, but I'm not sure if it was like within that couple of years or somewhere in that. And again, the Dead Sea is located in what they call the Jordan Rift Valley, because one of its main tributaries is the Jordan River. And then it comes out in the news just, I don't know, a few days ago or whatever, that the Dead Sea is coming to life. And they were talking about these different isolated reservoirs that are part of the Dead Sea, but there's life in it. Fish swimming, all of these different things that are going on. You can Google it. I read some things about it and I was like, wow, there it is. That's the word. The Dead Sea is waking up. And so anyhow, is that not a startling prophetic action? I don't know what is. So really excited about all of these different things that are unfolding. And I had a few engagements, encounters with God in the sense of Him connecting the dots for me about a few things, and I believe all of this. You know, I think this is important. We realize, and you've been hearing, I've been hearing, you've been speaking about, I've been speaking about, that we are in this great awakening, coming into another realm where we are awakening to being woke up to the revelation of our sonship in God, the kingdom glory of God coming upon the earth, the darkest regions of the world being invaded by light, and we're just leaning into this more and more all the time. And so I know, you know, we're coming into agreement with the light of God, with the love of God, the glory of God, and that agreement is literally becoming a manifest authority rising up in the earth in a very powerful way. So I just want you to know that right now, wherever you're at, whatever your situation is, if you feel whatever area you're struggling in, I just want to release this life towards you, and literally just the thunder and lightning of God toward any action of the enemy, that it would literally disarm it and would bring you into the revelation that you're entering into greater life, not lesser life, but greater life, and overcoming any action, overcoming any circumstance in your life that is trying to lure you into a place of believing that it's just the opposite. But the truth is, you are the light of the world. The life of God is in you, and there is increasing life. And I'm just coming into an agreement with you right now, and hoping that you come into an agreement with me and those that are viewing right now. In fact, this would be a powerful thing to share to people, so that one, that they would come into the sound of the thunder of heaven. They would come into the light of the lightning of God. I know this kind of puts some people on tilt, but I'm telling you, the thunder and lightning is in the pudding, so to speak. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's very exciting. So I'm going to share with you another quick thing. Like I said, I'm going into Sanford, Florida, to be with David and Rhonda Raymer, Glory Fire Church, and looking forward to that. And I feel like God is going to have me to unpack some things about what it means to be a prophetic scribe, and the authority and the power of that, and its ability to release the government of heaven on earth. And so it is the action of decreeing a thing through what I call the pen of authority. And in short, when John had his experiences and revelation and things were revealed, he was told to write it down. And the idea of writing it down wasn't just for future recording, but it was for releasing the authority of that word into the earth, as well as it being recorded in the heavenly realms, in the libraries of heaven, where others would have access, and even us in the book right now having access to it. And so I remember when God spoke to me a number of years back that in heaven I would be a scribe. And if you haven't heard about my scribe experience, you know, you can go check it out. I can't remember the deal on it, but I had this encounter with 3 different scribes. They had staff in their hands, and I realized the staff represented pens, like writing pens, and there were pens of authority. I got that out of Judges 5:14, I believe, where it uses the word staff. You look it up in the Hebrew word, it actually means pen, and the Lord showed me it was a pen of authority. I said, what am I going to write about that no one, that they don't already know, meaning in heaven? And I heard the voice of the Lord say, my kingdom is an ever expanding kingdom, and to it is no end. Connecting now the dots, I realize that every time we articulate something, when you write it down, telling people where I go, if you hear God, if He's speaking, write it down, make note of it, because you become part of the expansion of heaven, the government of heaven, the government of God's love. Whatever it is that He's unfolding, you write it down, because it is articulated in that moment. There are angels that will be assigned to that. And when I'm in Florida, I'm going to be sharing about the action, how that all works, how the assignment of angels come along beside that, the same way that when a king declares a thing and it is written and posted and shared for the public, and it literally is an authority that is released in the midst of that land or people. So another quick thing, and I'm ending with this, because again, I'm kind of like in a time frame here. Tamara's right now helping getting things ready to take off again tomorrow. But the Lord spoke to me about enemies becoming allies, and that those many who have been against this nation, the United States, that in the future the enemies will become allies. That there would be an unusual transition that would take place, and a gateway in the spirit would open up, and it would be another introduction of the supernatural peace and rest of God. I realize there are people that are so bent on war and chaos and all this thing, and they can't see beyond it. But I'm telling you, I believe that I can prophetically see beyond the war, beyond all of the stuff that has been going on. And we're coming into an age of peace and rest. And God is looking for people to come into an agreement with that right now. So get ready. Those who were once, maybe not all, but a lot, that were once enemies will become allies. I have many scriptural references to this, things that happened historically, where there were unusual alignments of governments where they would come together and literally lay down arms, so to speak. And so I'm just declaring that even maybe you have situations, circumstances in your life where it just seems like, there have been people or situations, or, whatever it is, that have been enemies that like attacking you or whatever. I'm declaring right now and coming into an agreement with you that those who are against you will be for you. That's the simplicity of it. And so you just got to look beyond the moment and see into the intent and desire of God for you, for them, and all the above. So anyhow, those are just a few things that I feel are under the title of startling prophetic actions. Anyhow, you guys are amazing. For those of you who helped me go into the Philistines, I so appreciate that. It was, like I said before, it was more of a missionary journey, and you know how that is. You can just dish out a lot. And so whatever level, those of you who gave, thank you so much. And if you want to feed into it more, that would be great. But anyhow, you guys are amazing, and in fact, some of the most amazing people I know. I'm being honest. And so thank you so much for participating. Let me just say hey again to Patricia Cook, Marcia, hey, how's it going? And my wife Tamara, it says Philippines. Yes. So I appreciate your prayers just for strength, for energy. Like I said, it was hot over there. Oh my gosh, it was a melting pot for me. And just seemed like I couldn't acclimate it myself to the degree I could. I didn't have enough time, and I know how that works. Hey, Sheila, great seeing you. Teresa, thank you, everyone, for dropping in. Hey, Tommy. And so, yeah, may the force be with you. Love you guys. See ya.